couldn't resist one last trip back to the woods. So if you watched my previous film from these woods, you'd have seen I've stood here a few times over the last 4 weeks. But the reason I couldn't resist is because all the other occasions I've been here, it's been in the evening and the sun has been setting over there. But got up at 5 a.m. I think, came out here on site about 6 in the rain, but the sky has cleared. And I mentioned in the previous film, this path runs north-south, so the sun, that's south, the sun comes up, works its way over, and look, I'm now getting, I wanted to see what it was like with the light coming from the east, and it's pretty special. So I'm exactly the same composition with the path and the tree, but just the light is coming through, and just look, it's really illuminating the wild garlic. So I've set up on f/16. I've got my filter in. I'll just check which filter is. It's an ND4, just because the blue sky is quite bright. So just to take the kind of the extreme light out of the sky, and as you can see at the moment, beautiful light shining just down on the wild garlic. And in fact, I'm taking my reading off the wild garlic with the sunlight, but I'm going to, at the moment, I'm on f/16, I'm going to underexpose a little bit, because I think the contrast of the light and the shadow will be quite nice. And the smell is just glorious, absolutely glorious garlic smell, if you like garlic. But just, I think it was a good decision to come back. What has helped is, as I got here, it's about a half an hour walk from where I parked the car to here. It was absolutely pelting it down with rain, but it was one of those big clouds, dumped loads of rain in quite a short time, and then it was gone. But everything's wet, so there's a nice sheen of reflection. So I hope you're not getting bored of these woods. I'm definitely not. But weirdly, since I was last here, some people have put red hazard tape across the path up there. Don't know what that's all about, but I'm going to see him look for some different compositions now. But pretty pleased I came back. I promise this won't be a long film, but you're probably sick of seeing wild garlic. But it's everything about it is just brilliant. The smell is great, the light is great, obviously the green and the white is great. But just bear with me for 5 seconds, just listen. Full of birdsong, absolutely full of birdsong, just wonderful. So anyway, I hope you don't mind that little interlude. So back to this tree, and I'm on a portrait upright composition. And what I want, why I'm doing that is I want these wild garlic in the foreground. The trees are kind of a item of interest, but the foreground is probably the most important, because it's this wonderful display of wild garlic. So I've used hyperfocal distance, so I'm focused about kind of a metre and a half in front of the camera, and then I'm exposing for this foreground greenery. So I'm on f11 and it's given me 15th of a second, but I'm going to go just a touch under. I'm going to take one there. So I took 2 then. One there, just spin camera a little bit, and 1 there, and I'll stitch those together. But it's great having the sun. It gives a completely different perspective having the sun behind me. Last time I was here, it was over there, and I think that worked out okay. But it's a nice perspective. And I've been for a little wander, but this is the best kind of bloom. So I actually thought, will I come back again in another week? I can't keep coming back to the same place over and over again for weeks on end. But some male pheasant just calling behind me. But it's one of those, it's such a good opportunity, and it won't last long. Come back in maybe 3 weeks, a month, and it'll all be gone. And wild garlic, once it goes, it looks really bad. The leaves turn really yellow. So have to see what else I'm doing. So far I've been shooting quite kind of open, scenic views, getting the whole woods in, but I'm trying to do something a little bit more intimate, because I was looking at this tree, which is great, and kind of this little bit of ivy going up the side, and then the sun shining nicely just on the wet garlic. So this might not work. It might be one of those. So I've gone right close in, so the tree's taking up about a quarter of the image, and then obviously I've got the garlic around the bottom with the light shining on it. So I've picked my focus point just on the edge of the tree, and I'm just going to take my light reading off the garlic. I'm just going to take that image and see how that works. It might be a load of old pants, but I just thought it was nice, because the kind of combination of the moss and the whiteness and the green and the shine off the water might be rubbish, but it seemed like a good idea. But I'm hoping it's just something a bit different, kind of more intimate landscape. Does that count as a landscape? I'm not sure. Birds are still singing though. Last one, I promise. So got this lovely composition here. In fact, I was heading back because I've got other things to do today, and just saw this composition. So the path leads down to this gate in the distance, and there's these nice kind of relatively young trees on one side, a spruce on the other, and a path heading down to the gate, so you get a nice composition. So I'll show you here. Unusually I've got the path starting right in the middle. Normally I'd start with the path on one side or the other. Obviously I've gone portrait. The reason I've gone with the path right down the middle, well, two reasons actually. One, I wanted the gate in the middle, but two, if you see these trees on the left and then a branch coming on the right, it suggests a circle. Now clearly there's no circle there, but it suggests a circle in the image. So I hope that makes sense. Is it gestalt? Am I talking a load of nonsense? But you may have seen those kind of gestalt diagrams, and it's a kind of a thing that works in photography. It's the suggestion of a shape rather than a shape itself. So it's a suggestion with those branches that there's a circle. So I've got a line of this path heading into a circle with a gate at the end. Does that all sound a load of nonsense, or am I making sense? Good, making sense. So the circle and the line and the gate, I think, makes a nice composition. And I think I was on f/16 and I'm underexposing because there's a dappled light coming through. I want that contrast of the bright and the dark. So took my reading off the bright kind of foliage and whatnot, but then underexposed. And I promise no more. No, maybe one or two. I hope you enjoyed that trip to the woods. I'm all done. The 5th visit, I think, in 4 weeks, and I absolutely think it was worth it. I just loved it, and getting the light from a kind of different perspective I think was kind of really helpful. So I might come back, but I won't make any more vlogs about it because you're probably sick to death of wild garlic and woods. But got some nice images, I think. Got some good compositions. Kind of spoiled a little bit by a bloke turning up on a quad bike and driving across some of the wild garlic. But I think he was feeding the pheasants. So don't get me started on that. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you found the tips useful. And I'm going to go and get some breakfast.